jealousy. It could be a deadly disease. It's gonna get deadly in here. So I advise my viewers, if you can't handle it, leave the video now. But if you're staying, buckle up, because it sure is gonna be a bumpy ride. Straight to hell. Today's story takes place in Morgantown, West Virginia, on July 5th, 2012. 16-year-old Skylar Neese had just finished working at Wendy's and got home. She told her parents, Mary and Dave, that she was so tired that she's going straight to bed. So her parents told her, "Good night, sweetheart, sweet dreams." And she went to bed. The following day, her parents didn't see her coming out of her room, so they thought she was just sleeping, and they headed off to work. That day, my man David, the father, came home early from work around 2 or 3. But still, there was no sign of Skylar. So I said, "My daughter can't be still sleeping. She ain't asleep yet." So he yelled, "Hey Skylar, sweetie, sweetheart." No sign of Skylar. So he said, "Let me go knock on her door." He went to her bedroom, knocked on the door. No answer. So he said, "Let me knock a little harder." Boom, boom, boom. Still no answer. So he gently opened the door, walked inside. He couldn't find Skylar. So he pulled out his cell phone, dialed his girl, Mary, the mother. "Hey Mary, you know where your daughter is?" She said, "No, I don't know." So he said, "Wow, that's strange." So Mary told him, "Hey, try calling one of her friends." He said, "Okay, let me try that." So he hung up with Mary, dialed Sheila, a close friend of Skylar. Hey Sheila, do you know where my girl is?" She said, "No, I don't know. But don't worry, she should be fine, don't worry." Sheila was a close friend. Anyway, he said, "Okay, if you hear any word from her, please tell her to call me." She said, "Okay, I'll do that." And they hung up. So he looked around the room, boom, 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 and he was still looking. Then he looked in the closet, then he saw the window mesh laying there. He said, "What? This window mesh is supposed to be on the window, not on the floor." So he took a look at the window. And guess what? The window was open about an inch. So he went there and peeked outside. And he looked down and he saw a bench. He said, "What? What the hell's going on here? Did my daughter sneak outside?" After looking down and still seeing that bench still there, Mr. Dave thought to himself. He said, if my daughter had snuck out and she would have returned home, she would have returned that bench back to its original spot, and she would have put the window mesh back on the window. So he started to panic and pulled out his cell phone and called his girl, Mary, the wife. He said, "Mary, guess what? Our daughter snuck out," and he explained the whole situation. So Mary said, "Wow, that's a first. I never suspected that." She told him, "Anyway, let's just cool down and give her a couple hours and see how things go." He said, "Okay, I'm cooling down. Hopefully everything's going to be okay." So they cooled down, waited for a couple hours. But at 4 p.m., Wendy's, her workplace, called and spoke to Mr. Dave. "Hey, Mr. Dave, where's your daughter? She didn't show up for work today." Mr. Dave panicked. He said, "What? My daughter didn't come in for work today? She never misses her shift." He said, "Okay, I gotta go." And he hung up with Wendy's and called 911.
Long County 911, do you have an emergency?
I have a 16-year-old daughter who apparently snuck out of her room last night. She has not been home, hasn't went to work, can't get a hold of her from any of her friends. I am scared to death.
Has she done this before?
No.
After Mary and Dave finished speaking to the police, they were kind of panicking, to be honest. They didn't know what to do. But then all of a sudden, Mary's cell phone rings. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. And guess who it was? Sheila, Skylar's friend. Hey, Mary, did Skylar ever return home yesterday? Mary said, nope, but we just finished speaking to the police. When Sheila heard that, she said, wait, Mary, I want to confess something. We usually sneak outside and go smoke marijuana. We love marijuana. So Mary said, what? You guys are like Snoop Dogg? Sheila said, not exactly, but you could say that. So anyway, they said, tell me the story. She said, all right, I'll tell you the story. Us three, Sheila, Skylar, and the third friend, Rachel. We always go smoking marijuana. But we never pick your daughter straight by the house. We always pick her and like 2 blocks before the house and drive her home 2 blocks before the house. Mary said, why you guys do that? She said it's simple because sometimes, you could hear the car engine, the door slamming, so we don't want people to see us. So we told her just walk the 2 blocks. She said, I get it, I understand. You guys are being sneaky. She said, yep, that's what we do. We're sneaky girls. So she said, what happened? She said, but yesterday when we drove her home 2 blocks before your house. So we don't know if she ever made it to your house. We didn't see her or anything. So Mary said, wow, something may have happened to her in those 2 blocks. So she hung up with her Sheila and she called the police right back up and explained the situation and updated them. Then it hits Mary. Hey, our building complex has a security camera on it. Hey, Dave, let's go speak to the building manager and ask him if we could see that footage. So they go explain the situation and they pull out the footage, but the footage doesn't make any sense. At 12 a.m., Sheila drops off Skylar, but you really can't see it because it's like on the corner, but that's what supposedly happened. But then at 12:30, an unmarked car, a strange car, pulls up, and you could see Skylar running to it and entering the car. Dave and Mary finally get a little relief. They feel their daughter is in good hands, that she willingly entered that car. It gets really sad now. Days would pass by. Heck, even months would pass by, and there was still no sign of Skylar. All the locals posted up signs of Skylar missing, and still no sign of her. It was like she simply vanished. But in December 12th, 6 months later, something would happen that would completely change this case around. On December 12th, Rachel, the other friend, has a complete nervous breakdown. And I mean a complete nervous breakdown. She starts hitting her parents, hitting the walls, going crazy. It gets so bad that Rachel's mother had to call the police.
I have an issue with a 16-year-old daughter of mine. I can't control her anymore. She's screaming. She's running through the neighborhood. Give me the phone. No, this is over. This is over. Hurry up. Get away from her. Oh, God. She just gave me a block. Oh, God. Hurry up, please.
So when the police came, they had no choice. They had to put Rachel in a psychiatric hospital. She was literally going crazy. So several days passed by, and when she got out of that psychiatric hospital, she went straight to the Morgantown police department. She didn't even bother going home. And she said, "Hey, this is literally making me crazy. I gotta tell you guys something." So the police said, "Girl, what you got for us?" And this is the story that took place. This is the story that Rachel would tell the police. On July 5th, 2012, after Skylar returned home from working at Wendy's, she did go to bed. And then all of a sudden, her phone rang. It was her friends, Rachel and Sheila. "Hey Skylar, you want to smoke a joint?" She wasn't really feeling them because lately they've been acting up. They were starting to be jealous from her, so they weren't really treating her right. So she said, "Nah, I'm just gonna sleep and go to work tomorrow." So they kept on asking her. Finally, they persuaded her. And you know how stupid kids are. They could never say no to marijuana. So they came and picked her up at 12:30 a.m. And that unmarked car was actually Sheila's car. So they picked her up and drove down to Pennsylvania, 45 minutes away, to the woods where they usually smoke marijuana. So they sat by a hill, looking down, and we're gonna start smoking. And then all of a sudden they said, "Hey, I don't have a lighter. Hey Skylar, could you go back to the car and get us a lighter so we could light up this mother?" So Skylar got up and was walking to the car to go get a lighter. And then Rachel and Sheila got up and boom, started stabbing her back. She was like, what the hell's going on? What's wrong with you girls? And she started to run. And so they ran after her, and they finally tackled her, dropped her to the ground. And they both started stabbing her and taking turns. "Hey, children," boom, one stabs her, boom, the other stabs her. And then finally Rachel got tired. She said, "I'm not going to be stabbing someone all night. I'm getting tired over here." But Sheila would not stop. Sheila kept on stabbing her until she stopped gurgling. And we don't know, she probably was dead. So they left her there. They went to the trunk of the car, opened it up, and took out their bleach, shovels, and their kill kit. They actually had this planned out. So they said, "Let's go dig and bury this person." So they went to dig, but it was cold and the ground was hard, so they couldn't dig. They were stupid people. So they pulled her over, put her to the side. He said, "Get some branches and some dirt and some stuff. Let's just cover her up and go home." So they covered up and went home. Rachel would be sentenced to 30 years in prison, but she's eligible for parole in 2023. During her trial, she looked at Skylar's parents and apologized. As for Sheila, Sheila would be sentenced to life in prison, but she's also eligible for parole in 2028. During her trial, she also looked at Skylar's parents and gave them a smirk, like it was funny. When they had killed Skylar Neese, they had counted to 3 before they stabbed her. And on March 2013, when the police came out and said, "We identified the body in the woods as Skylar Neese," a couple days later, Sheila tweeted out, "We really did go on 3. Thank you guys for watching today's show. I'm Ahmed Bastioni. If you like today's show, please like, share, and subscribe. God bless you. I'm out of this joint. Hey, wait. Check out this bonus.
Skylar Neese was a straight-A student, a 10th grader at University High School in Star City, West Virginia. She loved spending time with her dog and played the flute in the band. Skylar's father says she had dreams of going to law school.
She wanted to be a lawyer. And to hear her argue, she could have been a very good lawyer.
But Skylar's story took a tragic turn July 6th last year when she disappeared.
She got home at 10 o'clock. She got home from work, came in and said, "I love you, Mom, I love you, Dad," and she went to her room and we ain't never seen her again.
Skylar's father realized the next day something was wrong when he found Skylar's bed empty.
When she first disappeared, what did you think had happened?
She'd have run away. You know, if she would have run away, she'd have took her cell phone charger and her hair curler and all the other stuff kids take. That's pure hell, because you don't know where your baby is, you don't know what has happened.
An open window in Skylar's bedroom offered a clue.
Right here is the one she went out of that evening. She used that black stool over there and put it at the bottom of the window. Left the window open about that much when she crawled out.
Investigators pulled the security camera video from Skylar's apartment building and saw her jumping into a car parked near her window. That seems to make sense considering Skylar's best friend, a 16-year-old classmate, had told Skylar's father that she and another girl and Skylar had gone joyriding that night. Trouble is, that girl said they picked up Skylar around 11 p.m. The security camera video shows Skylar getting into the car much later than that, around 12:30 a.m. That timeline only added to the intrigue. So for months, investigators tried to piece together clues. Friends of Skylar's rallied together to comfort the family. They hung missing posters. There were hundreds of leads, but nothing panned out. Then, in January, 6 months after Skylar disappeared, a stunning admission. 16-year-old Rachel Shoaf, seen here in this picture from the Examiner, smiling along with her friend Skylar, admitted she killed her, but she said she did not do it alone. Rachel Shoaf told investigators she and another classmate who was 16 lured Skylar out of her bedroom that night and into their car. She said they then drove her here to this spot in rural Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes away. And then, just as they planned, the two girls attacked her, stabbing Skylar to death. Rachel Shoaf told investigators they were going to bury Skylar, but when they couldn't, they left her body here on the side of the road and covered it in branches. The other girl's name hasn't been made public since she's charged as a juvenile. But Skylar's father says she is the same girl who told him she'd picked up his daughter for a joyride. Investigators searched that girl's car after Rachel Shoaf's confession and found Skylar's blood. What was your daughter's friendship like with these two girls? How close were they?
Inseparable. They were together all the time, especially the one that hasn't been named yet. She had just got back from vacation with her, a week before this. She'd been best friends with her since she was 8 years old. I mean, it's sick.
And remember those friends who helped and comforted the family? It's almost beyond comprehension, but Dave Neese says one of them was the unnamed alleged killer.
She was finding out from us every week exactly what the cops knew, because they were telling us what they knew. Of course, we were telling her because we thought she was so upset and missed Skylar so much. And to find out she murdered her, it makes me sick.
And it's not just their behavior that's so troubling. Rachel Shoaf actually left for church camp the day after the murder. Her family issued a statement to Skylar's parents. It reads in part, "We are at a loss for words to comfort your pain. We were shocked to learn of our daughter's involvement in Skylar's death. We know her actions are unforgivable and inexcusable." So why did they do it? Why kill Skylar? The reason Rachel's given is simple and sickening.
They didn't want to be friends with her anymore, which is sick. If you don't want to be friends with somebody, leave them alone, but don't murder them.
What do you want to say to these two girls?
Rotten hell. How's that? Because that's exactly what I want them to do. I want them to go through the pain and agony my daughters went through. I want them to have no life because Skylar doesn't have one.
It's such a disturbing story. What is next for these two teenage suspects?
Anderson's 16-year-old Rachel Shoaf had been charged with first-degree murder, but after leading authorities to Skylar's body in the woods, she cut a plea deal. She pled guilty earlier this month to second-degree murder, but she still could get 40 years in prison, Anderson. Now, the other girl, the other suspect who hasn't been named, she is still charged as a juvenile with first-degree murder, although a judge could charge her as an adult. We're waiting on that decision. There is no word that a plea deal is in the works for her.
As we told you last week, that Rachel Shoaf, one of Skylar Neese's killers, was up for her first parole hearing today. Riley Holsinger has been covering that story all day and tells us what the parole board decided and brings us the reaction of some of Neese's family members.
With Rachel Shoaf up for her first parole hearing today, Skylar Neese's family waited right here in anticipation and seeing if one of Skylar's killers would be set free.
At this time, the board is not ready to grant you parole at this time.
The words that Neese's family was hoping to hear.
Parole denied. And she doesn't deserve parole. She never did deserve her parole. She's a rat that got a deal.
Shoaf said in the hearing that she wouldn't necessarily deserve parole because of her actions. She apologized to Neese's family and blamed being immature and young at the time.
In my mind, there's no words to describe the horrific act that the inmate committed against Skylar. No matter what she says now, that she was young and she didn't know better, I'm sorry. 5 and 10-year-olds know not to commit murder.
According to the West Virginia Department of Corrections, Shoaf is projected to be released from Lakin Correctional Center in April of 2028. While Shelia Eddy was sentenced to life in prison, her first parole hearing is set for May of 2028.
We still got one more to go, and it's coming up soon, and we'll be here for that too.